Next we are going to see about the chemical regulatory mechanism of respiration. Okay, just now in the previous video we have seen the neural mechanism, okay, in which certain respiratory centers are taking part. Okay, now we are going to see about the chemical mechanism. The chemical mechanism in the body is accomplished by chemoreceptors. So receptors are structure that can perceive any stimuli. Okay, so depending on the type of stimuli, the receptors can be of many types. Okay, like stretch receptors, temperature receptors, pain receptors, proprioceptors. Okay, all these are certain kinds of receptors which can perceive certain kinds of stimuli. Okay, what about chemoreceptors? Chemoreceptors will perceive only the change in chemical constituents. Okay, the stimuli to the chemoreceptor is change in the chemical constituents of the blood. Okay, it is not like any chemicals. Okay, it is the oxygen and carbon dioxide content in the blood. Okay, so these chemoreceptors are activated but if there is any change in the oxygen and carbon dioxide content of the blood. Okay, and one thing that has to be highlighted, these chemoreceptors does not have direct effect on the respiratory muscles. Okay, for inspiration to occur, these respiratory muscles have to take part. Okay, the external intercostal muscles and diaphragm have to be contracted. All these things will not be produced by chemoreceptors. What is the action of chemoreceptors? These chemoreceptors can influence these respiratory centers. Okay, only through the respiratory centers only these kind of inspiratory and expiratory actions they can produce. Okay, so the chemoreceptors are certain structures in the body, does not produce any respiratory action directly, but this can influence the respiratory centers to produce the effects. Okay, first of all, we are going to see about which are the different kinds of stimuli. Okay, just now we have said it is just this change of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Now we are going to see about its detailing. Okay, the main stimuli of chemoreceptors. In what all cases these chemoreceptors can be activated? Okay, first of all, it is hypoxia. Hypoxia, hy means low, oxia, oxygen content. Okay, hypoxia means lower oxygen content in the blood. Okay, hypoxia is a particular condition in which if enough oxygen is not available to the cell, it is known as hypoxia. Obviously, there won't be oxygen in the blood. Okay, this hypoxia can be affected by different ways that we are going to discuss in the next video. Just now, the definition of hypoxia is decrease in oxygen level in blood. Okay, if there is, if the partial pressure of oxygen is lower, it is known as hypoxia. Okay, and next one is hypercapnia. Hypercapnia. Okay, hyper means high, capnia, that is carbon dioxide content. Okay, if the blood is having increased carbon dioxide content, the condition is known as hypercapnia. Okay, if there is increase in accumulation of carbon dioxide only, this can stimulate the chemoreceptors. Okay, if there is decrease in oxygen, it can influence the chemoreceptors. Okay, so just now it is increase in carbon dioxide. Okay, hypercapnia means increase in the accumulation of carbon dioxide. Next stimuli is increased H plus ions in the blood. Increased H plus ions in the blood. Okay, we can give a term acidosis, but acidosis is not only the accumulation of H plus ions. Okay, any substance which can cause the acidity of the blood is known as acidosis. So just now you just learned that increase in H plus ion can also influence the chemoreceptors. Okay, and one thing, if there is increase in carbon dioxide, naturally the H plus ions in the blood also increases. Okay, if there is carbon dioxide increase, the H plus ions in the blood also get increased. What is the relation between carbon dioxide and H plus ions? If there is more carbon dioxide in blood, more and more carbon dioxide will react with the water in the plasma of the blood. Okay, CO2 plus H2O. H2O is the water content in the plasma. Plasma itself is the fluid part of the blood. Okay, water content in the blood. So, if the carbon dioxide reacts with the water in the blood, what happens? It results to the formation of a compound known as carbonic acid. H2CO3, carbonic acid. Okay, so this carbonic acid is very unstable. Okay, since it is unstable, it readily dissociates it into its products. It is H plus ions and bicarbonate ions. Okay, since this carbonic acid is very unstable, it will be readily dissociating into H plus ions and bicarbonate ions. Okay, so from this we can understand if there is increased carbon dioxide, the level of H plus ions in the blood also get increased. Okay, so hypercapnia can cause a condition known as acidosis or increase in H plus ions in the blood. Okay, so these are the common stimuli of the receptors, chemoreceptors. Next, we are going to see about two kinds of chemoreceptors. Okay, types of chemoreceptors. Chemoreceptors are of two types. Depending on the location of the chemoreceptors, where these are situated in the body. Okay, depending on the location, these chemoreceptors can be divided into two. First one is the central chemoreceptor, CR means chemoreceptor, and next is peripheral chemoreceptor. Okay, first one is central chemoreceptor. So where would be the location? In the central nervous system. Okay, the central chemoreceptors are situated in the central nervous system, or more specifically we can say the central chemoreceptors are situated very close to dorsal respiratory group of neurons in the medullary region. Okay, in the previous video we have already discussed about one principal respiratory center known as the dorsal respiratory group of neurons. So these central chemoreceptors are situated close to the dorsal respiratory group of neurons in the medullary region. So since this is situated in the central nervous system, in the brain, it is known as central chemoreceptors. Okay, and next one is the peripheral chemoreceptors. So what would be the location? In the periphery of the body. Okay, away from central nervous system. Okay, so the peripheral chemoreceptors are in the body region which is away from the central brain region. Okay, central nervous system. Okay, so first we will be discussing about central chemoreceptors. Okay, central chemoreceptors are situated or located in the brain. Okay, in the very much closer to the dorsal respiratory group of neurons, and these central chemoreceptors is having direct influence on the dorsal respiratory group of neurons. Okay, and main stimuli of the central chemoreceptor is increase in H plus ions. Before this we have discussed about some stimuli, no? It is the common stimuli, okay? And for central chemoreceptors, it is the increased H plus ions. The stimuli, the only stimuli of the central chemoreceptor is the increase in H plus ions. Okay, so if the H plus ions, if the chemoreceptor, central chemoreceptors is capable of perceiving increased H plus ions in the blood to the brain. Okay, so we know that blood circulation is to all the parts of the body. So blood is obviously going into the brain region. through tiny capillaries the blood circulation is established. So through this blood, if there is higher hydrogen content, higher H plus ion content constituents in the blood, the central chemoreceptor can activate. Okay, and first of all we have to discuss about one term, that is blood-brain barrier. Okay, blood-brain barrier, what is it? That is, the brain region is highly delicate, so that the blood which is passing through the brain region, through the brain cells, the absorption of substances from these blood is very selective. Okay, so the capillary to the suppose this is the capillary. Okay, this is one capillary which is going through the brain region. Okay, through the brain cells. So from this capillary, the absorption of substances to the brain cell is very selective. Okay, only the most essential things is reabsorbed, and all the other things, if there is any toxic materials, if there is any unwanted metabolic end products, it will not cross the capillary. Okay, and these capillaries are highly specialized because of the presence of specialized endothelium. Okay, this capillary is having, and what are endothelium? Endothelium is the this capillary cells is known as endothelium. Okay, so the cell lining of this capillaries is known as endothelium. So these are tight junction endothelium. Okay, and the passage between these cells, between these endothelial cells, is very restricted. It is tight junction passage. Okay, so very selective reabsorption is being taking place here, and this endothelium is known as blood-brain barrier. Okay, this specialized endothelial cells in the brain capillaries is known as blood-brain barrier, because it acts as a barrier between the brain cells and the blood. Okay, once the substance can cross this endothelium, it can goes to the brain cells. Okay, so this is known as the BBB, or blood-brain barrier. Blood-brain barrier means endothelial cells of the capillary which is seen in the brain cells. Okay, so we have just seen that the central chemoreceptor, if the central chemoreceptor have to sense the H plus ions, the H plus ion have to cross this blood-brain barrier. Okay, suppose this is the capillary, okay, inside which you can see blood. Okay, and this is the brain region. This is brain and this is blood, and between these blood and brain there is a tight junction endothelium. Okay, this endothelium is obviously a part of the capillaries itself. It can produce a tight hindrance, barrier between the blood and the brain cells. Okay, so these are cells. Okay, and this is endothelial cells. Okay, so these endothelial cells will produce this is known as the blood-brain barrier. Okay, between the blood and brain region, you can see the endothelial barrier known as the blood-brain barrier. Okay, so in the brain region you can see the central, this is chemoreceptors. Okay, the central chemoreceptor, which is very closer to the dorsal respiratory group of neurons in the medullary region. Okay, this is just an easy figure that you can follow. Okay, so this chemoreceptor, what is the stimuli of this central chemoreceptors? It is H plus ions. But one thing is that this H plus ion is restricted here. This H plus ions in the blood cannot cross across the blood-brain barrier. Okay, but instead of that, carbon dioxide can be easily diffused through the blood-brain barrier. Okay, main stimuli of the central chemoreceptor is H plus ions. So from the blood, the H plus ion have to cross this blood-brain barrier and it have to stimulate the chemoreceptors. Then only this will stimulate the dorsal respiratory group of neurons and can increase inspiration. Okay, so but the H plus ions in the blood does not have a transport across the blood-brain barrier. Okay, it is very restricted. So what happens? But the CO2 in blood, okay, the gaseous form, that is the CO2 in blood, can diffuse across the blood-brain barrier. Okay, so what is the next step? The CO2 will cross the blood-brain barrier and it will mix with the cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, the water content in the cerebrospinal fluid, that is H2O, and it can produce H2CO3, that is carbonic acid, and it can produce H plus ions and bicarbonate ions, and this H plus ions will stimulate the chemoreceptors. Okay, chemoreceptor. Okay, so now the H plus ion has crossed. Okay, now the H plus ion has reached the medullary region. Okay, in the brain cells. In the brain cells means these are neurons. Okay, so it has now reached the medulla and it has now stimulated the central chemoreceptor. So central chemoreceptors now senses increased H plus ions in the blood. Increased H plus ions means increased carbon dioxide. Okay, so for decreasing that carbon dioxide, what is needed? Inspiration is needed, hyperventilation is needed. Okay, for inspiration, what center have to be activated? It is dorsal respiratory group. Okay, so it will be having direct effect on dorsal respiratory group, and this dorsal respiratory group is stimulated. So this will affect the inspiratory muscles. Okay, this will affect this. We have already seen the function of dorsal respiratory group, that it stimulates the respiratory muscles. It increases inspiration. So when the inspiration is increased, that means more oxygen in blood. Naturally, the carbon dioxide will be eliminated more. Okay, if there is more inspiration, more expiration can occur. Okay, so the oxygen and carbon dioxide, these constituents will get normalized in the blood. Okay, so this is how the central chemoreceptors are working. This is the action of central chemoreceptors. Okay, next we are going to see about the peripheral chemoreceptors. So, the peripheral chemoreceptors are situated away from the central nervous system. Okay, peripheral chemoreceptors. So, there are two kinds of peripheral chemoreceptors. First is carotid body and aortic bodies. Okay, so there are two kinds of peripheral chemoreceptors. Peripheral chemoreceptors means these are situated in the periphery of the body. Okay, it is not located in the central nervous system, nowhere around the brain or spinal cord. Okay, it is situated in some other region. So these are of two kinds. First is carotid bodies. Second one is aortic bodies. Okay, so first, what is aortic bodies? What would be the location of aortic bodies? In the aorta. Okay, aortic bodies will be situated in the aorta. You know that the major blood vessel, that is the biggest blood vessel that is arising from the heart, is known as aorta. Okay, this is aorta from the brain region. Okay, from the left ventricle. From the left ventricle, the blood vessel that is arising, which gives to the systemic circulation, is known as aorta. So from this aorta, in the aortic walls, you can see certain receptors known as the aortic bodies. Okay, these are some chemoreceptors. So in the aorta you can see chemoreceptors. Okay, and what about the carotid bodies? The carotid body, which is seen in the carotid trunk. Okay, that means from the aorta you can see two main the blood vessels that is going into the neck, face and brain region. Okay, and it is known as carotid artery. Okay, from the aorta, two major blood vessels arises to the anterior region, which supplies blood to the neck, facial and brain region, and it is known as carotid artery. Okay, it will move superiorly, two main arteries. It is known as carotid artery, and at certain point, okay, when this carotid artery reaches the neck region, this carotid artery will bifurcate into two branches. Okay, it is known as the internal carotid artery and external carotid artery. Okay, this is known as the external carotid artery. This one is the internal carotid artery. So from the aorta, the blood circulation to the anterior portion is supplied by the carotid artery, two main artery that arises from the aorta. Okay, it is known as carotid artery, and at the neck region, this carotid artery will be bifurcating into two, known as the external and internal carotid artery, and within this walls of this carotid artery, the next chemoreceptors we can see. Oh, it is the carotid bodies. Okay, at the point of this bifurcation, when it branches out into two, at this level you can see, at the bifurcation level you can see certain receptors known as the carotid bodies. Okay, so now you know the location of the aortic and carotid bodies. Aortic bodies situated in the walls of aorta, and carotid bodies situated in the carotid artery. Okay, and what is the action of this carotid and aortic body? The main stimulation of carotid and aortic body is decreased oxygen level. Okay, in the peripheral chemoreceptors we have seen it is increase in carbon dioxide and increase in H+ ions. Okay, in the peripheral chemoreceptors are stimulated by which of the stimuli? It is decreased oxygen level, that is hypoxia. Okay, so we are taking first of all we are taking the example of aortic body. Aortic body means these are chemoreceptors situated in the aorta. Okay, in the aorta. So we know that the aorta is having the blood directly comes from the lungs. Okay, if that blood, we know that from the lungs it is directly coming into the left ventricle, that come to the left auricle, okay, left atrium, and then it comes to the left ventricle. From the left ventricle it goes through the aorta. Okay, that is how the circulation goes. So this aorta, obviously it will be having blood that is directly coming from the lungs. Okay, suppose if the inspiration is not proper, the blood that is coming from the lungs to the aorta will be having low oxygen. Okay, low oxygen level in the aortic blood. So this low oxygen level, okay, this low oxygen level is the stimuli for this aortic bodies. So these aortic bodies are stimulated, And what happens? These aortic body will give impulses into the dorsal respiratory group of neurons. Okay, dorsal respiratory center. That means this dorsal respiratory center can increase the inspiration. Okay, dorsal respiratory center along with the apneustic center can increase the depth of inspiration. If the inspiration is increased, more oxygen will come. So the condition of low oxygen is solved now. Okay, so it increases the inspiration. So these aortic and carotid bodies, okay, it can sense the oxygen content in the blood. Suppose if it is low oxygen, the low oxygen availability to the body is very harmful. Okay, so this low oxygen have to be normalized. Okay, so this low oxygen level have to be normalized. That means the amount of oxygen have to be increased to the normal. How it can be increased? Only through inspiration. Okay, if the person is inspiring for a little more time, more oxygen will come to the body. Okay, so the aortic body will sense low oxygen in the blood. So what happens? These carotid and aortic body, I'm not talking only about the aortic. Okay, these two chemoreceptors can pass impulse. Okay, it can fire impulse, the sensory impulses toward dorsal respiratory, more significantly to the dorsal respiratory center. Okay, so the dorsal respiratory center can produce inspiration. So the inspiration, it is happening for a certain period of time. More and more oxygen will come into the body. So this the problem of low oxygen level in body can be solved. Okay, so this is how the peripheral chemoreceptors can act. Central chemoreceptors will be acting depending upon the level of carbon dioxide and H plus ions in blood, but the peripheral chemoreceptors will act depending upon the oxygen level in the blood. Okay, thank you.